Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of NWCR's Removing That Liberal Blindfold for this the 17th day of November in the year of our Lord 2025. Remember this, my friends. Gavin Newsome wants to be president, but he cannot even manage California. He keeps claiming victory, but facts prove him wrong each and every time. From Breitbart comes this one. Newsome again avoids accountability amid Palisades fire fallout. We're on the tip of the spear of climate change. Like I've said many times, the Democrats of today lie every time they open their mouths, and if we continue to vote them into office, their misery will undoubtedly become ours. Please subscribe to our updates. They are recorded and put on Rumble, BitChute, and YouTube for your convenience. Listen to the end and then like and subscribe to them so we can get promoted in the ratings. That way more can see the truth the media is hiding from us, and thank you in advance. Governor Gavin Newsome, Democrat of California, is continuing the pattern of shifting attention away from the Pacific Palisades fire, this time focusing on climate change and insurance access instead of addressing his administration's role in the disaster. At an event this week, Newsome described California as both blessed and cursed in the terms of climate risk, claiming the state is on the tip of the spear of climate change. He cited simultaneous droughts and simultaneous floods and emphasized that, quote, the hots are getting a lot hotter and the dry is getting a lot drier, unquote. In referencing the Palisades fire, Newsome stated, quote, you saw one of the most devastating wildfires in American history in the middle of winter in Los Angeles in January. 100-mile-an-hour winds attached to the fire. And as we rebuild, the number one concern people have is, how do I get my home insured? Newsome's remarks arrive as victims and lawmakers continue to question his leadership and accountability in the wake of a fire that destroyed nearly 7,000 structures and killed 12 people in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu areas alone. Newsome has faced scrutiny from federal officials, legal challenges from displaced residents, and intense criticism from those who accuse his administration of negligence, obstruction, and policy exploitation in the aftermath of the blaze. In the days immediately following the fire, Governor Newsome deflected responsibility during a visit to the evacuation zone, placing blame on residents who had not yet fled, when he said, quote, the fact that people were still not evacuated, still did not heed the warning, were just coming down the canyon, is a reminder of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders, unquote. Yet reports later revealed that residents had been trapped by gridlock and poor planning. Roads were choked with traffic and police presence was limited because many officers had been reassigned to protect President Joe Biden during his visit to Los Angeles. Some residents were forced to abandon their vehicles and flee on foot. Fire crews eventually had to clear abandoned cars with bulldozers before engines could reach the flames. Officials also confirmed that fire engines had not been pre-deployed, citing budget restrictions and local leadership decisions. The governor's office responded to a lawsuit filed by dozens of residents arguing that the state was not obligated to monitor the burn scar left by January 1st Lackman fire. Although that fire was believed to have been extinguished, it reignited on January 7th under high winds, triggering what became known as the Palisades Fire. Through a spokesman, Newsome dismissed the plaintiffs as opportunistic and maintained that state didn't start this fire. The administration instead pointed to alleged arsonist Jonathan Rinderknecht, Rinderknecht, whose arrest, according to Newsome, could bring closure. However, residents and attorneys pushed back. Plaintiffs maintained they had the smoking gun video evidence showing the visible smoke on the morning of January 7th, hours before high winds fanned the flames. Local attorney Alexander Robertson, who asserted the state just didn't do their job of monitoring the fire site, added he threw the firefighters on the bus. He took no responsibility. Advocates and victims also pushed back on the notion that the fire was unpreventable. Spencer Pratt, who lost his home in the fire, has since become a vocal opponent of the state's response and said the community could have been spared if basic preventative measures had been taken. Pratt specifically pointed to the failure to clear brush in Topanga State Park where the fire reportedly reignited. While acknowledging there may have been issues on federally managed land as well, Pratt stressed that Newsome was directly at fault for neglecting the state-managed property where the disaster started. And now we'll remove the liberal blindfold. Gavin Newsome has made it clear that he wants to be president, and yet, when it comes to being right, he, like Democrats, have forgotten how to be. From the Bible it says, from Proverbs 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding." We need to start remembering just who is at fault for almost everything that is going wrong in America today. Sure, some of the Republicans are to blame, but for not having a backbone. But the Democrats, almost to a man and woman, are to blame. Today's story about Gavin Newsome is a great example of this, and because we don't remember, he is still in office and considering a run for the presidency. Please start remembering, folks. The Democrats are destroying America, and that's their plan. Samuel Adams once said, "For true patriots to be silent is dangerous." And I've said, and others have said this before, we must stop being unpatriotic in our thinking, for one party is now actively working to destroy our freedoms and our Constitution, and yet we keep electing them to office. America is not so big it cannot be destroyed. Look over the last administration with Biden and see just what happened to show you that. Thank you for watching, and as I will always say, we will not be ruled. NWCR is heard through Conservative Nation Media from behind the silver microphone of freedom with the voice of reason in this increasingly unreasonable world where America always wins. Again, please like and subscribe to my video accounts on Rumble, BitChute, and YouTube, and leave us your comments so that we will know just what you are thinking. Have a good day, and God bless you all.